Chapter 1. The Prodigy of the Serpent. In a world where legends and myths intertwined with reality, a land reminiscent of feudal Japan lay hidden from the eyes of the common folk. In this mystical realm, the legacy of Yasuke, the first African samurai, resonated through the ages. But it was a legacy that remained untold. In a humble village nestled deep within the heart of this enigmatic land, a young man named Kuro Orochi was about to discover his own destiny. The village, known as Hiryu, was situated amidst dense forest and mist-covered mountains. It was a place where teams seemed to stand still, untouched by the chores of the outside world. Kuro Orochi, with skin as dark as ebony and eyes that held a glimmer of untamed spirit, was unlike the other villagers. From a young age, he exhibited extraordinary abilities that set him apart. He could move with the grace of a serpent, his senses sharper than those of a hunting hawk. His strength was unmatched, and his agility was beyond compare. The villagers marveled at Kuro Orochi's talents but also feared them. He had an uncanny ability to understand and communicate with animals, and the local wildlife often seemed drawn to him, as if recognizing a kindred spirit. One warm evening, the villagers gathered by the firelight to share stories of Yasuke, the legendary African samurai who had once walked the lands. Elders spoke of his valor in battle and his unwavering loyalty to Lord Nobunaga, whose name resonated like thunder across the land. Kuro Orochi listened intently, his heart stirred by tales of his father's exploits. Though he had never known Yasuke personally, his spirit yearned to follow in his footsteps. He yearned to become a warrior of honor and strength, just like his father. As the night wore on, a chilling breeze rustled the leaves, and a shadow fell over the village. The villagers looked up, their faces pale with dread, as a group of armored horsemen rode into Hiryu. At their helm was a sinister figure known as Lord Kazuki, a warlord whose thirst for power knew no bounds. The villagers cowered in fear, but Kuro Orochi stood tall, his eyes ablaze with determination. He stepped forward, confronting Lord Kazuki's menacing presence. The warlord, intrigued by the young man's defiance, dismounted and approached Kuro Orochi. "Who dares to challenge me?" Lord Kazuki sneered, his eyes narrowing. "I am Kuro Orochi," the young man declared, "son of Yasuke, the first African samurai. My blood runs with the strength of a serpent, and I will not bow to tyranny." Lord Kazuki's cruel laughter echoed through the village, but Kuro Orochi remained resolute, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. With a menacing grin, Lord Kazuki drew his blade, and the battle commenced in earnest. Their swords clashed with the resounding clang of steel against steel. Kuro Orochi, fueled by determination and the legacy of his father, moved with the grace and agility of a serpent. Lord Kazuki, a formidable warrior in his own right, met each of Kuro Orochi's strikes with skill and cunning. The clash of swords between Kuro Orochi and Lord Kazuki reverberated through the village of Hiryu. Sparks flew as their blades met, each strike resonating with the legacy of Yasuke, the first African samurai. Lord Kazuki was a formidable opponent, his skill in combat matched only by his ruthless ambition. He moved with the precision of a seasoned warrior, his strikes swift and calculated, but Kuro Orochi, with his serpent-like grace, was no ordinary adversary. Their battle raged on, each combatant pushing their limits. Kuro Orochi's movements mirrored the fluidity of a serpent, his strikes unpredictable and deadly. With every clash, he sought to honor his father's legacy and protect his village from the looming threat. As the moon hung low in the night sky, casting eerie shadows, Kuro Orochi's resolve burned brighter. He knew that this battle was not just about personal honor, but the very survival of Hiryu. With a powerful thrust, Kuro Orochi disarmed Lord Kazuki, sending his sword clattering to the ground. The villagers who had watched in fearful silence now erupted in cheers. It seemed that Kuro Orochi had triumphed over the warlord. But Lord Kazuki, his pride wounded, was not one to accept defeat gracefully. With a menacing grin, he unleashed a hidden scroll, chanting incantations in a dark tongue. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and shadowy figures rose from the earth. The figures, clad in tattered samurai and ninja garb, were the undead warriors of the Black Lotus. bound to Lord Kazuki's dark sorcery. They surrounded Kuro Orochi, their lifeless eyes gleaming with malevolence. Just as the battle seemed dire, a sinister presence loomed in the shadows. It was Shigo, the cursed undead shogun, accompanied by the other members of the Black Lotus. The Black Lotus was a formidable group, and each member possessed unique skills and abilities. Among them were Kajuro, an old man with special ninja skills, Keiko, a masked assassin with deadly precision, and Izamu, a hulking samurai with immense strength. The members of the Black Lotus watched from the outskirts of the village, their eyes gleaming with malevolent intent. The outcome of this battle would not only shape Kuro Orochi's destiny, but also determine the course of their dark plans. Kuro Orochi, ready to face the combined might of Lord Kazuki and the Black Lotus. His resolve burned brighter than ever, and the clash of swords and the roar of determination echoed through the night. As the battle unfolded, the fate of Hiryu hung in the balance, and the young warrior Kuro Orochi would be tested like never before. Chapter 2. The Curse of the Black Lotus. The moon hung low in the night sky, casting an eerie glow over Hiryu village. Kuro Orochi stood before Lord Kazuki, the sinister warlord who had invaded his home. His defiance echoed through the village, his resolve unyielding. However, Lord Kazuki's amusement at Kuro Orochi's courage soon turned to frustration. With a wave of his hand, he signaled his men to seize the young warrior. But just as the armored horsemen closed in, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. "Enough, Lord Kazuki," the figure hissed. It was Shigo, an undead shogun whose existence was rumored to be a curse upon the land. His skeletal face bore a malevolent grin, and his cold, lifeless eyes glistened with dark intent. Shigo's presence sent shivers down the spines of Lord Kazuki's men. They backed away in fear, leaving Kuro Orochi standing alone, his heart pounding in his chest. "Who are you?" Kuro Orochi demanded, his hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of his sword. "I am Shigo," the undead shogun replied, "and I have heard tales of your serpent bloodline. You possess a power that intrigues me." Kuro Orochi eyed Shigo warily, his senses tingling with unease. The village elders had spoken of the cursed shogun and his unholy army, the Black Lotus. They were said to be restless spirits bound by dark magic, seeking to conquer the living world. "Why have you come to Hiryu?" Kuro Orochi asked, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at his insides. Shigo's skeletal fingers traced the hilt of his own ancient sword, a weapon forged in the depths of the underworld. "I seek to add you to my ranks, young one," he hissed. "Together we can unlock the true potential of your serpent bloodline and wield power beyond imagination." Kuro Orochi's mind raced. He could feel the weight of destiny pressing upon him. To join Shigo would mean unparalleled power, but at what cost? His thoughts turned to his villager, his loved ones, and the legacy of his father, Yasuke. "I will never serve you," Kuro Orochi declared with unwavering resolve. "My power will be used to protect those I care about, not to further your dark ambitions." Shigo's grin widened, revealing rows of sharp, glistening teeth. "So be it, young warrior. You have made your choice, and you shall face the consequences." With a chilling laugh, Shigo and his undead entourage vanished into the night, leaving Kuro Orochi standing alone, his heart heavy with the weight of the path he had chosen. Determined to uncover the secrets of his serpent bloodline and protect his village, Kuro Orochi knew that his journey had only just begun. The quest for the sacred scrolls of the Orochi awaited him, and with it, the trials and allies that would shape his destiny.